In 1660, Charles II returns from exile to England and restores the monarchy. After a decade of repressive, grey Puritan rule, the floodgates of fashion are now opened. Men can now wear frills, ribbons, silks, and we are awash with colour in the Stuart court. Here at Hampton Court Palace, we are going to show you step by step how a Stuart courtier gets dressed for Charles II. So, you're just in your underclothes?
Yes, I am. This is basically my underwear, but it will also partly be on show. So this shirt that I've got on now is very frilly, and it's basically massive cuffs that aren't very practical, but a very good way of sort of having embellishments. Again, showing how this can be really clean and well laundered.
You're going to be showing off more of it, aren't you? So your doublet will only come up to your arm.
Exactly.
So the shirt is really an item to behold in itself.
A statement piece in itself, exactly. And then I've got my understockings on. So like I might wear stockings, I have overstockings to go on top of these, which helps with hiding leg hair, but also makes the colour of the stocking that I choose more vibrant so that it stands out. So all underwear.
These are your knitted stockings.
They are very vibrant and knitted, as you said, which means that actually they fit the leg really, really well.
Oh.
There we go. There goes one.
They're very soft, aren't they?
They are very soft. Now, actually, in truth, I don't feel much of that because I have my understockings on. The understockings help them stay up, which is another added benefit to them, that it holds them up for me. Oh. But there they are. That's me now with some stockings on, a bit more dignity.
Yeah.
Thanks. So these are petticoat britches. They are very large.
They're almost like a skirt, aren't they?
They are, a bit like a skirt. In fact, they are really, they're shorts, I suppose. We might can think of them as shorts, but they could be absolutely huge. In fact, I even heard a story of Samuel Pepys talking about a friend that he'd met who'd accidentally spent the entire day with both legs in one side without having realised. So I suppose I'll step into them now.
I can see there's lots of frills and ribbons on the piece. Are these to help tie it into the doublet, like the Tudors would?
It's very similar. These ties at the front hark back to the idea of having points that would tie in your doublet to your hose. And as time went on from the Elizabethan period into the early, James and then Stuart's period, these were the ties that went into your doublet. They were fancy, they were big ribbons, but they don't tie the doublets in anymore. They just have the ribbons there to make it look like you're still using points. So they're just for embellishment at this point.
Yeah, totally redundant, just for show.
Completely.
And the fabric itself is lovely as well.
It is. That is all silk, a very fine way. And as you can see, like huge giant shorts, but what an expense to have so much more fabric. A very odd and strange fashion, but it's been brought over with King Charles from the continent, as a lot of fashions were, and they spread here, and so he wanted to fit in just as everyone else did. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Compared to the britches, it looks like there's not much to this.
I know, all the fabric's gone into these apparently, but that is correct. It is a very small little doublet that gives me a lot more space to move, and I can pull my sleeves through, very much on show, and then there it is.
Now we can see how it wants to show off your shirt.
Yes, I know, there's so much of it on show. In fact, what I'm supposed to do is pull a little bit of it out so that it balloons.
Yeah.
It's a very odd style again, but you have the shirt giving some embellishment, and now I have this amazing falling band collar that helps to show off again.
Yeah, so this is really good lace, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, very popular at the time. And you've got these bands here as well to tie it with.
Yes, exactly. So actually, this doublet does do up. There are two little buttons and a hook and eye, which is very new to the 17th century, having a hook that you can do. It comes in at the turn of the century, but I wonder if you might be able to help do up my collar for me.
Yeah, of course. But I won't do up too much because I suppose you want to show off some of this shirt protruding at the front. Now that is a shoe.
Isn't it just? I know, they're incredible.
They've developed a lot since previous ages. As you can see, they've got a fantastic heel to them here, whereas before in the Tudor times they were much more flat-soled. We like to expose the tongue a little bit with our shoes here. You can show off that lovely red leather that's underneath. And we're no longer tying them with ribbons. Now we have this fabulous looking buckle. So, should we put these on?
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind.
Right, here we go.
Apparently, the red, and especially the red heel, comes again from France with Louis XIV, and it showed whether you were in favour with him, if you were allowed to wear red heels or not.
When did men start wearing heels? We know in previous generations, in the Tudors, they're wearing very flat-soled shoes.
That's true, actually. It's men that start wearing heels first, before women. It comes from the Ottoman Empire and Persian ambassadors coming over towards Europe, and these men showing up who are warriors but had these strange hooked shoes, heeled, which meant they could stand up in their stirrups and shoot their bows from horseback. And so these warriors became really fashionable, and so men started wearing them, and it was noticed, of course, men started getting very strong calves, which had always been popular, and so they carried on wearing them, and then ladies started to copy because it gave you such a fine shapely leg.
So is this you fully dressed now?
Not at all. In fact, if I was indoors, I would still be wearing a cloak, even though I'm not going out and travelling yet. So a cloak, please.
This is rather fabulous.
Isn't it?
Lovely cape with a fantastic lining here as well.
Yes, it matches, so it's quite the ensemble. Now you can, of course, wear your cloak over one shoulder like we've been doing for a long time, but the longer they are, they tend to pull and drag out the way. So actually, you can wear it over both shoulders. So if you wouldn't mind helping to put it over both shoulders for me, but just be careful with my collar, as I don't want to ruin this lace.
Yeah, so what I think I'll do is I'll go underneath it. So if I pull that up, and perhaps you might be able to take the ties and put them under your arms.
Lovely.
And I'll come in underneath your cape.
I have the ties, I'm passing them back. There we are.
There we are.
This feels very odd.
I know, it feels like we're about to do a pantomime cow act.
Well, I'm glad I'm the front end.
It's an honour to be here at the back.
Thank you.
There we are, let's have a look. Now, you need a servant to arrange you, obviously, to make sure your collar is in place.
Yes.
Your fine falling band. And your shirt as well. No restoration gentleman is complete without his periwig.
Absolutely. Yes, it's quite something, isn't it? With great big horns on top of it. And that was the fashion that came in. So.
And how are they made? Is this real human hair I'm looking at?
It would be real human hair, yes, absolutely. For the elite, so you would go, perhaps you might have your own hair cut off, which could be put into your new wig. But the likelihood is you'd own more than one, so it couldn't all be your own hair. So you'd pay for somebody else's hair. And if you weren't quite so rich, later on in time, people would start using horse hair, which actually in some ways was easier because it would hold its shape for much longer, whereas these have to be redressed a great deal as the curls start to fall out. That's why you need more than one. Now, you don't have to cut off your own hair, and I'm not planning to do so. In fact, I was thinking I might tie my hair back to make it much easier for me to put this on. I found my own knack and way. And really, what I need to do is get it this way and then throw it all over and out of the way. Like that. And then I simply tuck my hair in at the back.
It's more like it. That looks very fine. It's changed you completely.
Of course it has. I look better.
Yes, you do. You look like a proper gentleman. How do you feel?
Quite odd. The thing is with these, they're quite warm. Now, at the moment, having just gone on, I can already feel that warmth from it, but you can also smell it. They're perfumed, and so this smells quite nice, actually. It's just the accessories now. I'll need a hat, some garters, cane, and perhaps some jewellery.
Toby, you look very stylish, I must say.
Thank you very much.
Charles II has brought back opulence to the English court.
It's quite right, although this fashion won't last for long because he's such a pioneer that he in fact invents the three-piece suit. It goes from doublet to hose to having three pieces, a vest, a jacket and hose as well, and that's all thanks to Charles. It's quite something.
Yeah, well, you are quite something. Standing like that, you're really peacocking yourself. How does it feel to wear as a modern man?
It's actually very comfortable. In previous periods, of course, we know that it's quite tight-fitting and holds you upright. With this, you actually feel quite free, but you want to hold yourself upright. The heels are quite comfortable. So actually, in truth, It's all very nice.